You are using something invented before written history existed. Right now, this exact second. You just don't notice it, because it's been around so long it stopped looking like an invention at all. For roughly 300,000 years, your ancestors had no factories, no laboratories, no blueprints. And yet, somewhere in that vast stretch of time, they built the handful of tools that made every single thing you rely on today even possible. So what did prehistoric humans actually invent? And why does it matter that most of these breakthroughs happened long before anyone could write a single word down? Let's start with the one you'd never guess: fire. Not just the discovery of fire, but the controlled use of it. Evidence from sites like Wonderwork Cave in South Africa suggests early humans were controlling fire as far back as 1 million years ago. And archaeologist Will Robrooks has argued that habitual fire use likely became widespread among Homo erectus and later Homo sapiens well before 400,000 years ago. Fire wasn't just warmth. It cooked food, which made calories easier to absorb, freed up digestive energy, and, according to primatologist Richard Wrangham's cooking hypothesis, may have directly fueled the growth of the human brain itself. Why does that matter? Because without fire, none of what comes next was possible. No metalworking, no pottery, no safety from predators at night. Every later invention on this list assumes fire already exists. Here's where it gets more interesting. The stone tool, specifically the hand axe, first appearing roughly 1.7 million years ago in what's called the Acheulean tradition, named after the site of Saint-Acheulean in France, where these tools were first identified. These weren't crude rocks. They were deliberately shaped, symmetrical, and required real planning to produce. Archaeologists studying Acheulean hand axes have noted their remarkable consistency across vast distances and enormous time spans, meaning early humans weren't just improvising. They were teaching a specific technique, generation after generation, across hundreds of thousands of years. So let's reconstruct the scene. A small group gathers near a rock outcrop. An older member strikes one stone against another at a precise angle, again and again, flaking off small pieces until a sharp, teardrop-shaped edge emerges. A younger member watches closely, then tries it themselves, failing several times before getting the angle right. This is the earliest classroom you can picture. No language may have even been needed yet, just observation, repetition, and correction. Now here's a counterintuitive twist. You'd assume the most important prehistoric invention was a weapon or a tool used for hunting. But many researchers argue that clothing changed the trajectory of human history just as much. Genetic studies on body lice, conducted by researchers including Mark Stoneking, have estimated that clothing likely originated somewhere between 83,000 and 170,000 years ago, based on when body lice, which live specifically in clothing fibers, genetically diverged from head lice. That's a strange but clever way to date an invention that leaves no fossil record at all. Clothing meant humans could survive in colder climates they otherwise couldn't tolerate, opening up entirely new regions of the planet to migration. Here's the mirror moment. Every jacket, every blanket, every pair of shoes you own descends from that first strip of animal hide wrapped around a shivering body tens of thousands of years ago. Next, consider the needle. A small, unremarkable object, but one that changed everything about clothing's usefulness. Bone needles with tiny eye holes, found at sites including Denisova Cave in Siberia, date back roughly 50,000 years and represent a leap from simply draping hides to actually sewing fitted, tailored garments. Fitted clothing traps heat far more effectively than loose hides, and many researchers, including archaeologist Ian Gilligan, have connected the appearance of sewn clothing directly to human survival through the extreme cold of the last ice age. Then there's language itself, and while its exact origin remains fiercely debated among linguists and anthropologists, most researchers agree that some form of complex symbolic communication was firmly in place by at least 100,000 years ago, likely earlier. Language wasn't just about talking. It let humans coordinate hunts, pass down survival knowledge across generations without relying purely on direct imitation, and build the kind of large-scale cooperation that no other species on Earth has ever achieved at the same scale. And finally, consider something you might overlook entirely: the container. A woven basket, a hollowed gourd, a simple leather pouch. Anthropologist Elizabeth Wayland Barber has argued that textile technology, including early basketry and cordage, was likely essential to human survival long before pottery or metal containers existed, allowing people to carry food, water, and tools across long distances instead of consuming everything on the spot. It sounds almost too simple to count as an invention, but the ability to carry surplus resources is a foundational reason humans could migrate, trade, and eventually settle permanently. Here's the part that reframes everything. None of these inventions happened in isolation, and none of them happened quickly. Fire took hundreds of thousands of years to become habitual. Stone tools were refined over 1,000,000 years. Clothing and language likely developed slowly, shaped gradually, rather than invented in a single flash of insight. Prehistoric innovation wasn't a lightning bolt of genius. It was slow, incremental, and passed carefully from one generation to the next, refined bit by bit until it became invisible, until it simply became how things were done. That's the real twist. You live in a world obsessed with rapid disruption, overnight breakthroughs, viral innovation. But the technologies that actually built the foundation of human civilization took hundreds of thousands of years to develop, tested endlessly, one small improvement at a time. So the next time you put on a jacket, cook a meal, or grab a bag before leaving the house, remember that you're using tools whose origins stretch back further than written history itself, refined by countless generations of people who left no name behind, only the object itself, passed down and improved, one hand to the next, for longer than anyone can fully imagine. You are using something invented before written history existed. It's just that now doesn't look like an invention. It just looks like your life.